Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, those ethics laws, what are they thinking? Also, the V team takes a look at prisons, a moving target. And there's confusion among lawmakers.
I'm not just talking about my wife, I'm talking about my life. I can't seem to get that through to you. I'm not just talking about one person, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about form, I'm talking about content, I'm talking about interrelationships, I'm talking about God, the devil, hell, heaven. Do you understand? Finally!
Oh, yeah. I guess that clears everything up. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V team. Welcome.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Okay.
Yeah, Jack's over here playing one of my legs, so.
Well, that's not a first, okay? Something that is another first, Tori Miller Matus, she worked for Senator Shelby in communications. She has taken on the role of Chief of Staff for Representative Martha Roby. Her parents, Deborah and Jeff Miller, have to be proud of her. We're very excited for her in her new position.
They're two of my favorite people, and Tori is extremely competent, and she'll do Martha a great job.
Yeah.
We're very proud of her.
I think it's great that we have Katie Britt, Chief of Staff for Richard Shelby, and now Tori's heading up that position
And then
for
Rick
Martha
Dearborn.
Roby. We could go down the line.
We certainly could.
Go down the line.
Alabamians in charge.
But
Yes.
large and in charge. The Alabama Ethics Commission, we believe, our sources say, will be meeting on the 5th of April, and they will hear evidence on complaints filed against Governor Robert Bentley and perhaps John and Rebecca Mason. Beth, this is getting deeper and deeper and more convoluted in some sense, isn't it?
It is, and it's about darn time too, because this has drug on and on and on. And I've been thinking for the longest time Bentley was just trying to run out the clock, because he's only got another 2 years in office at this point or less. And so, but I think it's time the Ethics Commission finally puts this thing to rest and either what's next, recommend charges to the AG or drops it and clears his name.
Well, Jack, I mean, it's obvious that they're gonna have to come back with something. Now, do they come back with anything with any meat on the bone, or do they just pass it off like they've done everything else?
I'm still in favor of abolishing the Ethics Commission. I don't care what they do. The AG's office is going to have the final say in this. Or if the House decides to impeach Bentley and it goes through the Senate, that's another avenue. But the Ethics Commission is a joke.
Well, I happen to agree with you on that. Susan, we were talking earlier, and we reported this week, two of these folks that are going to sit in judgment have total conflicts of interest, at least in my mind.
Well, Butch Ellison, who sits on the commission, is married to Bentley's second cousin, for one thing, and has been appointed to several commissions by Bentley himself. Also, Price has got a problem here, although we know he doesn't have a problem voting with a conflict of interest. He's done it before. But also, people don't understand that the Ethics Commission does not fall under the ethics law. So if they vote with a conflict of interest, it doesn't come back to them.
Right. It's kind of one of those cases of who watches the watchers, and that's what we're dealing with now. And, Bentley's appointed these people, and so it's just, I don't know, I think the whole thing needs to go to the AG's office. I'm with Jack. Just let's get it handled.
I mean, and we haven't talked about that. The Ethics Commission is still a joke. Judge Price, voted on a opinion that affected him directly, and he said, "Yeah, I know it's conflict of interest, so sue me." I mean, it was really just like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know,
you can't
and
do anything.
I'm disappointed in Charlie for that too.
But I got to tell you, this consensus around the State House is let's just get this done. I mean, it's causing so much trouble.
One way or the other.
We've got the AG's office involved, the FBI may be involved, we've got Ethics Commission, we've got an impeachment. We've got too much work to be getting done during this legislative session for this huge distraction to continue.
Well, one of the things that's happening is the constituents out there, when these lawmakers go home every week or month, they hear from the constituents, when are you going to get rid of Bentley? When are you going to get rid of Bentley? I kind of think, the impeachment process, I think, is a little ragged right now because he's not been indicted. The other thing that it brings up, Jack, why don't we pass a recall bill? That'd be a simple thing to do, right?
These people are not going to vote on a bill that's going to recall themselves. It's like they don't like, they pass these ethics laws, now they're going, like Mike Hubbard, what were we thinking? They're trying to water them down right now, and I have a real problem with that.
Well, I don't know. I would just think recall would settle the whole issue.
Well,
just recall him.
It comes back to the fact that we don't have a way to, as citizens, we don't have a citizen initiative to get things on the ballot. So we have to go through the legislature, even if we all wanted to try. Some states you can do petitions for ballot access. We have no way to do this without the legislature stepping up and doing it.
Well, this conversation just went all over the map. That's pretty good. We're having ballot initiatives, and
There's so much going on.
Jack's firing everybody.
I know, there's so much going on right now.
No, abolishing. That's
Abolishing, which is even better. We would rather you abolish than fire.
It's a big word, too.
Can we abolish them for being obtuse?
I tell you something that really was great this week. We only got about 2 minutes left, I think. This week, Alan Treadway, representative, who is also a police captain, said he put a bill in place that said if you are indicted, Jack, you are out of your leadership seat in the House. What do you think?
I think it's a great bill, and it would have solved a lot of issues several sessions ago after Mike Hubbard was indicted and continued to serve, and there were people squirrely about that, and all he did was crack down even harder. I just think when there's a cloud over you, you do lose your effectiveness.
Yeah, and don't forget all of those bills that they tried to get done that would have circumvented the charges around him and, changed the laws to get him out of this. That was definitely serious conflict of interest.
He used his power of his office to delay, distract, and just basically try to destroy the whole justice process. I think Treadway is honorable for getting this passed, if he can get it passed. If he can't get it passed now, it's never going to pass.
Right. We're coming up on an election year.
Jack brings up an interesting thing. We may have to carry this over because we only got about a minute left. When after the Hubbard trial, the Attorney General's office has been working on legislation that will clarify and strengthen the ethics laws. Luther Strange had a deal when he was AG with the House and Senate leadership that he would bring forth this bill and that they would carry it. And now there seems to be some pushback. And I'm concerned that you've got, Senator Marsh, Pro Tem, you've got Arthur Orr. A lot of these guys, Beth, are wanting to now weigh in on something that was already decided. Marshall's going to have to take a stand. Is he a politician or is he a prosecutor or is he the top cop, in this situation?
Right. Yeah, and it all comes down to, are you focused on re-election or are you focused on doing the job that you were, in this case, appointed to do? And I think his focus has to stay on the ball in front of him right now. He has to go
in there and establish that he's not a good old boy, but that he's going to do the job that he was appointed to do, which is prosecute offenders.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. You'll have the first word on the next segment. How about that? You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back.
Azia Medical Spa offers a relaxing experience using customized skincare treatments and full line of physician-grade products, with professionals that can assist you in determining which treatment options will best help you achieve your desired results. Azia's massage therapies are popular for rejuvenation and relaxation, as well as relief of tired, aching, and sore muscles. Voted the best medical spa in Birmingham for 3 years in a row, visit aziamedicalspa.com to schedule your appointment.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. Susan, before we get back to the Attorney General, the guys are standing by at the State House. Chip Brownlee and Josh Moon have an update on the ever-changing prison bill.
I'm Chip Brownlee with the Voice of Alabama Politics. I'm here with my good friend Josh Moon. We've been reporting on the prison construction bill going through the Senate. So Josh, what did we learn today?
Well, we learned that, first of all, there is a prison bill that has passed the committee, but it's not the prison bill that's likely to be debated on the floor. Apparently, Republicans are pretty well split over exactly what's going to be in this prison bill, and there's not a lot of willpower there to push forward an $800 million or even a $775 million prison bill. So I think they are now going to scale that way back, and the bill that's likely to show up on Tuesday is one that has only $100 million in it and then puts everything else off onto the locals to kind of float their own bond issues and do that if they want to renovate prisons or build their own prisons there. So there seems to not be the willpower there to incur the debt that can then, I guess, be used against them in campaign ads and future campaigns. But I don't see how that's going to work.
And they've been going through this process for weeks trying to come up with a compromise on this bill. The compromise that Senator Cam Ward came up with was $775 million for 3 men's prisons and some renovations for Tutwiler. But like you said, we're not sure that bill's going to get through. We're hearing that there may be another substitute that would bump that down to $100 million. And we're not even sure what you could do with that.
No, it's everyone thought the problem with the original bill was that it took a lot of the bidding process out. Basically to avoid using technical terms and cut it down to layman's terms, you had one company that would come in and bid on the project, and then they would be awarded a $225 million contract basically, and then they got to siphon off all the rest of the money and dispense it out to the other people. And I just don't think that's was something that was ever going to fly. And so then they cut that out, and now somewhere in the midst they've lost the whole thing.
Yeah, so we still don't know. Well, I'm Chip Brownlee with Alabama Political Reporter.
I'm Josh Moon.
I think these guys are doing a great job covering this issue. They worked on it all week. They worked on the weekend. And Susan, we're not going to know until Monday what really happens, or Tuesday, I guess.
Tuesday, because there's apparently a lot of big stuff coming down on Tuesday, according to them. It's a moving target right now. It's one of the biggest issues out there, and nobody really knows what we're going to end up with in the end.
Well, they're on top of it, so I feel like we've got the facts as they stand today. I want to get back to this thing that you were talking about, and what I mean by this is Attorney General Marshall, yes, he's a politician, he needs to get reelected, but he has to prove to the people of Alabama that he's going to be tough on these ethics laws and that he's going to finish the job that was started.
And the thing he's going to have to understand here is being tough is going to come with criticism from one side or the other. No matter which way you move, there's going to be criticism. So what I hope he does is keep his eye on the ball of what's the right thing to do.
And I don't get it, Jack. What's Arthur Orr's dog in that fight? I mean, he seems to be poking his nose into everything these days.
Wasn't there a rumor he was going to run for AG?
I think so, but he told me he wasn't planning on it, but it still bothers me. I don't know. He's got a payday lending loan.
He's got the ABC thing where he wants to close down the ABC
boards again. And I just don't know
That's
why
gonna
he's
mess Jack
inserting
up if
it.
he does that.
Mess us all up.
You just have like a physical reaction to the idea of closing down the ABC stores.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, they're thinking of jacking up the prices 5%. Who can afford, you know, scotch anymore, right, Jack?
Really? Or gin.
Or gin.
Well, if you drink the wine out of a box, it doesn't affect you.
Well, not so much, not so much. I tell you, Jack has been very, very animated about this bill of baiting deers and baiting livestock, like feral hogs and all that.
I'm fine with that. Feral hogs,
Okay.
not the deer.
But they passed a bill, or at least it's not passed, it's come out of the Senate or the House.
The House.
The House, where they can actually bait white-tailed deer and feral hogs. You got an issue.
What it is, they're trying to root out the feral hogs, and they want to bring in white-tailed deer because the corn's going to attract deer. I have a problem with that. And the sponsor of the bill, I'm told, and it's a rumor, owns a feed and seed operation, which he sponsored and voted for a bill that's going to personally enrich him, which is wrong. Will Ainsworth, who owns Dream Ranch, has 16-foot fences where people come in and shoot deer that he has captured in an area. Now he's going to throw corn on top of that, and he voted for that bill, which personally enriches him. Understand the Deer Association hired a lobbyist. I mean, it's wrong on every level.
Well, see,
number one, conservationist, and I own property. I don't like it at all. But number two, it's a total conflict of interest.
Well, and that it appears so. That we would
Right.
say it
Well-
appears so, but we need to hear from them on this. But Beth, go ahead.
Well, I look at this as I don't really see the difference in terms of hunting over a green field instead of hunting over corn. I mean, it's kind of one thing or the other here, but I just want to know why this is taking up time on the floor when we have the prison and Medicaid crisis and the budget issues. I mean, like, come on, guys, get back to work.
I mean, really, they passed a bill out of committee this week about assisted suicide. I thought it was already illegal in Alabama to kill someone. Do we need another bill that says?
Well, I
It's
guess
doubly
so.
illegal now.
Yeah, it's going to be doubly illegal.
Just making sure,
You
like
know,
those gun laws.
it's like some of the bills we pass that we know are going to get kicked out by the courts. We pass them anyway because we are the make-me state. Beth, I mean, that's true, isn't it?
It is true.
Dragging, kicking, and screaming into the future.
That's right. Well, they did start down the road on the budget process, and Speaker McCutcheon talked to us a little bit about that, and he's determined not to spend every dime that we have. You know, we've got that short window of some BP money. He doesn't want to spend it all. But one of the things that Josh Moon reported on this week is that state employees, they're not getting a pay increase. They're not getting more money because they just hate state employees. You know what I mean?
I hate to tell them, but state employees is the network on which they stand. It's state employees that run the state house, that are there for them for their assistance and this and that and the other, that get them their copies and all of this. So that portion and that added to the rest of, my God, are they trying to starve these people to
What ticks
death?
people off, including me, is the state employees hadn't paid raise in a long time. Since when, like 07 or something like that? And then Bentley goes and gives an $83,000 a year raise to people like Tommy Bice, a crooked former superintendent of education. And now this Senate's guy is giving people raises over there. I mean, it's ludicrous.
Well, and then there was the people in his office, and there was Azar, and a lot of other people got giant bump raises.
Well,
but these people can't even get a 2% raise.
Even in the legislature, was it Del Marsh's chief of staff got that huge raise?
Well, the thing is it's so selective. It really is. And the folks that are rank and file that have dedicated their lives to working in government, I think, deserve some cost of living adjustments from time to time. We only got about 20 seconds. I tell you, it's a house of Babel over there. I mean, these guys are they're not at each other's throat yet, but they're not on the same page, especially in the Senate. I don't see it.
No, there's filibusters everywhere. I mean, we've got, like Smitherman was filibustering the other day because of the monument bill. Singleton threatened on Thursday to filibuster yet again.
Filibuster friends.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, well, anyway, we're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. Up next in the House with the Speaker. welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. We're in the People's House with Speaker Mac McCutcheon.
Hey,
Thank you,
Bill.
Mr. Speaker.
It's good to see you.
You have put that in my head, that this is the People's House, and I'm going to remember that forever, so
Well,
thank you.
That's a good phrase to remember when you're in this building.
It is. It's an awesome place.
Yes.
And, we were talking about this over the weekend. One of the things that the governor has not done is come out to the people of Alabama and said, I'm sorry. And it really hasn't. And that I think that would go a long way, because you and our rural community people go, they want to see this governor gone. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't understand what he's done or what he's doing. And I don't think he's thoroughly explained that or asked for us to look the other way and forgive him or look past it.
Yeah, and tied to that's a lot of emotions and feelings. And so with that in mind, you can't impeach a governor because he didn't say, I'm sorry.
Yep.
You really can't impeach a governor just because he had some kind of an affair or whatever happened that the public has perceived him to do.
Right.
Well, you can't impeach on that.
That's right.
And there's where the facts come in.
And that's what I think you hit it right on the head. This has become an emotional issue because people are mad about it, and they want action. And government just, whether it's state, local, it just doesn't move fast. Especially, there's been only 8 governors in the history of the United States impeached. But I don't want to belabor that too much. I know the budget is a big issue this week, cranking everything up on the budget. So we got a lot of bills to pay and a lot of places for that money to go. And we only got one-time money from BP to get this done with.
That's true. And, as we move forward, we've got so many agencies that need some increases. Public safety, state troopers, the safety on our highways, that's so important. And we just don't have enough troopers on the road, and we don't have money to fund them. Court systems, they've got their caseloads are up.
Right.
With their demand placed on the employees in the court is higher. They're having to work with skeleton crews, if you will. We're looking at the one-time BP money, and as we look to next year and we look at the Medicaid draw off the general fund, we're looking at close to $100 million shortfall going into the 2018 budget. So we've got the one-time money.
Right.
So we need to make sure that we are responsible with this general fund budget, and that's what we're addressing in the House, the general fund budget. We need to make sure we're very responsible with that so that we look not only to this year, but we look ahead. And let's look into next year as well.
And that's something we've talked about before, planning and not just kicking the can down the road. That's your idea, is to plan ahead.
The old Band-Aid approach. Well, let's fix it this year. We'll worry about next year then. I'm just not made like that. I think we need to plan ahead.
Well, and we certainly agree with you on that. The Sheriff's Association is a little bit nervous because there's a bill, constitutional carry, where folks could carry a gun without a permit in their car. And this has some of the law enforcement nervous and upset.
Well, and it does, this is not the first Second Amendment issue that we've faced.
Right.
Since I've been in the legislature since 2006. We've looked at workforce, guns at the workplace. We've looked at the permitting process, and now here we are looking at the fact that being in a vehicle, not having to have a permit to transport a weapon. It's a hot button issue. People really get passionate about their Second Amendment rights,
right.
And I respect that. But I also have a sense of respect for public safety and the safety of the law enforcement officers on the street.
Well, and that's sort of, both Susan and I, we have pistols, we have firearms in the house, and we have permits. And I don't mind going down and visiting my sheriff every couple of years and getting my permit. I like for him to see me, and I like to see him. But I understand there are people that don't want that. They just don't want that intrusion.
Yeah, I'm receiving many emails and a lot of phone calls. I made a comment last week talking about the fact that the pistol permit can be a tool used by officers to help enforcement out on the streets.
Sure.
And I got some negative emails, and people said, well, you're just trying to stop us from exercising our Second Amendment rights. But that's not true. That was not the intention at all.
Right.
I'm just looking at the law enforcement officer out there on the street 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
He's got a carload of folks that are suspect. He finds a gun. Nobody has a permit. How do you link the gun back to the person in the car? What kind of people are you dealing with? It's just that permit is a good investigative tool for officers.
Sure.
And I hope we don't get so tied up on the Second Amendment that we forget about the officer's safety.
Right. We've got about a minute left. I do want to get to just one last thing, and this may sound trivial to everybody else, but you're taking a 2-week spring break. And people are just applauding you for that because.
Oh, really? Well, that's good. That's good.
You're not just picking a week and saying your kids don't get to have spring break.
One of the things that was very important to me when we started talking about spring break is that we had spring breaks where that we were doing it during the time that we tried to cover most of the school districts in the state when they were having spring breaks.
Right.
And the legislators, of course, they're glad to have that, but also the people that work in these buildings and these state offices were very appreciative of it too.
Sure, because it's divided in the state.
That's exactly right.
We have two different spring breaks.
And you know what's funny about that is that we tried to cover all of the districts, but my district, I didn't get my district involved. They take off the next week, so I missed my district over there. But we'll work through that.
That's the price of leadership, right?
I guess so. I guess so. Sacrifice.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Always good to have you.
We want to thank you for watching The V this week. You watch us because we watch them.